Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be walking you through some of my tips and tricks for my recently installed Z1 Offroad parts. I'm going to walk you through the radiator skid that I added to my assault bumper. If you haven't seen the video for the assault bumper, I'll put a card up here to that because I did that install probably about 8-10 months ago, and that bumper's been holding up great, but I wanted to add the matching radiator skid to the bottom to get rid of the old stock one, so I recently did that. I also installed their sliders, and I put on their shock skids in the rear of the truck. So of course, they have some awesome videos that kind of give you the step-by-step instructions for how to install them. This video won't be that. It's going to be talking a little bit more about my impressions of the stuff that I got, how it looks, the quality of it, and then giving you tips and tricks based on my actual experience installing this stuff. So again, if you're thinking about buying this stuff from Z1, this could be a good video for you. Or if you have it and you just want to avoid any hiccups or troubles while installing this stuff, there should be some good tips and tricks in this video for you. So let's dive into Z1 Offroad's radiator skid, sliders, and rear shock skid install.
Sandstorm, I fought it, though I wanted everything to do with what you give to me. Loosening my grip.
All right, guys, so we are going to start at the front of the truck, and we are going to be talking about the Z1 radiator skid. This thing's only a few $100. It's a lot thicker steel than the OEM one. It gives you a lot more protection than the OEM one, and it doesn't get in the way like the OEM one. And it also matches the lines of the bumper, which I really like. So let me jump into tips on that, and I'll show you how easy it was to install this thing. So to install the Z1 rad skid, you're going to remove these OEM brackets. So of course, I've already removed the skid plate itself. There are two 14 mil bolts on each side to go up into these threaded holes. So I removed those, taken the skid off. Now, you will also probably, if you don't have a Pro 4X, you'll have another sort of like heat shield or something under here, just thin metal. I actually removed mine last time I had my skids off because it kind of gets in the way of doing an oil change. It doesn't really provide much protection anyways. But so you would normally have another thin piece of metal under here that you would have to pull off. Again, in their video that I'll link below, you can see all the specifics of that. But I've removed mine. My rad skid now, though, is going to bolt up right underneath of this assault bumper, the Z1 assault bumper, which is what I'm running. And I'm going to use their new gusseted support. So their new supports actually have like gusseting that strengthens this right here and makes it even stronger. And then, of course, you get 5mm thick steel instead of that sort of chintzy stock skid plate that comes with it. So to remove this, then, you got to remove these up here, which are 19 mil bolts. So you're just going to pull those out. And then they give you new hardware for all that stuff as well. So you will get new hardware for everything for those. So we're basically going to remove this bracket and this bracket on the other side over here, and then the skid plate itself. And again, that steel piece that would be underneath of here if yours is stock or non-Pro 4X. And then I'm going to replace these with the gusseted ones. We're going to bolt up the new skid plate, and I believe that there are two spots for bolts that also bolt up back here where this stock skid plate is. So we're going to have to pull these down and then put those on the back, but then this whole area under your radiator from the assault bumper back will be protected. So one thing to note here is, again, if you have the assault bumper, there is like a brace that comes off the back of the assault bumper here that goes over to where your stock recovery loops would have been before. And it uses those same holes. So when you're installing the radiator skid, they do send these longer bolts. The ones that I had on here that came with, or that I may have sourced, actually, I can't remember, were 19 mils on here, but these ones are 15s. So just FYI, they're plenty long though. The other cool thing is that since this is slotted, you can actually run these up as much as you want, and then you can slide the panel on after you've got the bolts in there, just like that. Just like that. So you can just slide them on there so you can kind of get your bolts started and then tighten them down. Now another note here is that the gusseting goes inside. So when you're installing these supports, make sure that they face inside like this so that the gusset is on the inside in there and not the other way, because it could be kind of confusing if you don't know whether they go outside or inside. So just FYI, find the one that goes up and with the gusseting on the inside, and then you'll know which side that goes on. So when you get done with the side, it should just look just like that. Again, now that bolt is supporting both the brace for the assault bumper and then also the support for the rad skid. All right, so once you get it all buttoned up in there, you can tighten these down. One thing that I noticed is that it is sort of uneven from one side to the other, but I think part of that maybe, I'm not sure that my bumper is 100% straight, so I did have to move. The nice thing with these slots is you can move these around a little bit. So just FYI, be willing to sort of loosen these up and then adjust your side to side, straighten these out. I think I could adjust this one. I only worked with the other one to make it fit over there. So I probably could loosen this up a little bit and scoot this forward. So I may do that here in a second. Then the other thing that I was kind of thinking about is oil changes, right? So what does this do for oil changes? So of course your oil pan is right back there. So that doesn't impact that at all. So that's totally easy. And then your oil filter is actually right up in there. So the only thing is you can still totally reach your hand right up through here and get to the oil filter. So it doesn't really impact that at all. But what's going to happen is when you take that oil filter off, all that oil is going to pour directly down onto this skid, and then it's going to come out the back of the skid. So just be aware, there is no more drain hole like there was on the stock one when you removed it, or you could remove this one too if you wanted to. It's not too hard, just a few bolts, right? So you could either remove this when you're doing an oil change or deal with it hitting the skid and just kind of coming off the back. So just FYI. All right, so next I'm going to talk a little bit about the sliders, how easy these were to install, and any challenges that we had while installing them. There were very few, but there was one. For the Z1 sliders, we've got these all sort of unpacked here. These things are awesome. They're beefy. I love the branded panel on them here. We've got the other one on. I'll walk around to the other side of the truck and I'll give you some tips for things that we kind of learned. Now, we did the driver's side one first, and the biggest problem that we had was the stock bolt back here. Because the bolt is just a little too short. Like we can kind of get it to grab the skid though, but it's just a tiny bit too short. So we're having a little bit of a problem with that. But other than that, everything else is on here. It's all torqued down. So on the big bolts, you do 75 pounds. On the smaller bolts, you do 37.5. So just FYI, those are the torque measurements on those. You've got this sort of weird bracket back here, which is the back one. And that was the only one we had any problems with. In the middle here, you've got this sort of squared off support. So basically we got the main bolt through the sleeve back here, and it's the sleeve with this little lip on it, goes in the middle. We got that all sort of in there loosely, and then we put this support bracket on here that kind of boxes it all and just holds it all together so it won't twist. And then the front one uses the sort of angled support bracket. Same process here though, you put the main bolt through and then just leave it on loose, and then we put that support bracket on over top of it, and then we torqued everything down. So that one is looking really good as well. But I mean, it's been very straightforward again, except for this one stupid OEM bolt back here. Everything's been really smooth and really easy, but we may have to just go and get a little bit longer bolt there. Maybe take the OEM one and match it at like a Lowe's or a Home Depot or something, just find a little bit longer bolt. But so now we are going to do the passenger side basically the exact same way, but you don't have to deal with the gasket over there because the gas tank's on this side. So hopefully the other side's even easier. All right, guys, so finally we are going to finish up talking about these shock skids. These things were a piece of cake, honestly, really, really easy to install. But again, I'm going to walk you through just the tips that we've got, the things that we ran across when we were installing them, and hopefully it's helpful. All right, so we are getting finished up here. We just put on the shock skids from Z1. Real easy. Only tip that I would give you on the shock skids are over here on the driver's side. There's that bracket that holds the e-brake cable up above there, so you do need to pull that bolt off the side there. Remember to do that before you put the shock skid on. We started to do it and we're like, oh yeah, we got to take this bracket off. So, but I mean, aside from that, they're really pretty easy. We got the jack underneath the axle, so then you just, jack the axle back up, get the shock exactly where you want it, and then fit these things over top, torque them down to the recommended torque, which they put on the literal side of the sleeves, which is really nice. So really easy. All right, guys, so as you saw, the installs for these things were really not bad at all. The sliders were a piece of cake. It's easier with two people, of course, just because of the length of them and having to hold them up. But really, the install itself was easy. The radiator skid I did by myself in maybe 15, 20 minutes, piece of cake. And then the shock skids actually were really easy too. I do recommend, if you're going to be doing suspension work, that's a great time to pick up these shock skids, because we actually replaced my rear leaf. So since we had everything apart, it just made a ton of sense to get the shock skids, throw those on at the same time to protect those rear shock skid mounts that are so weak from the factory. So again, I hope that that was helpful. I hope that there were some good tips in there for you. If you are a D41 Frontier owner, there's going to be tons of content here. I've already made quite a few videos about this truck. I plan to hold on to this thing for years and years. I'm going to continue to modify this thing and change it up for camping and overlanding. So if you want to stay tuned to that, make sure to click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified when new videos drop. Of course, as always, in the description below will be links to all my other social channels. So wherever you want to come hang out, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, all over the place. I do a podcast every week or two. So there's tons of content for you guys. And I love making it. And I love the reactions and the responses from you guys that say, hey, this helps. Hey, this helped me figure this out. Hey, thanks for sharing that piece of gear. I love that stuff. Make sure to follow along elsewhere. There's also a join button below this video, which is just sort of a passive way to support the channel. It gets you early access to the videos, so you get them before anybody else, plus some other perks. If you want a more involved way to be a part of all things overlanding, there's also a link to my Patreon group, which is a ton of fun. We've got 20 plus people in there. We all hang out and talk in Discord 24/7. We do a once a month Zoom call, and we're getting together in person to go camping once or twice a year whenever we possibly can. So it's been a ton of fun to meet everybody, hang out, and if you want to be a part of that, definitely consider clicking through that Patreon link. There's also a link below this video to my website where I've got funny overlanding camping themed patches and stickers, things like I hate people so I camp, all things overlanding logo patches and stickers. Don't burn your wiener, and it's a picture of a hot dog. Like, there's some funny stuff down there too. Weekend Warrior, it's a jerry can. So definitely check that stuff out if you are into stickers and patches. And then last but not least, there's a link to the Newbie Overlanders Facebook group. Now, this is totally free to join. Tons of awesome members, over 24,000, almost 25,000 at the time that I'm recording this. So it's growing every day. And different from the big groups, we don't allow bullying or anything like that. So if you're looking for a place to be encouraged, to help people, to learn, that would be a great place to do it. And we'd love to have you. So click through that link. But again, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.